For many people, New York City is the ultimate place to live. It's the dream. I myself, when I was a teenager, I wanted to live in New York City. But the reality of living in a city like New York can sometimes not live up to the dreams that you have for it. And in today's video, we're going to talk about why so many New Yorkers are getting the heck out of Dodge and heading to Atlanta. Today, we're going to be talking about the differences between living in New York City and Atlanta. We're going to talk about crime. We're going to talk about schools, cost of living, and more. So if you are a New Yorker and you're thinking of moving to Atlanta, this is a video that is made for you. Make sure you watch until the end. Also, my name is Kelly Allen, and I've been a realtor for over 25 years here in the Atlanta area. I help people move every single week into and out of Atlanta. So let's dig into the differences between living in New York City and living in Atlanta. Let's first start with the cost of living. It should come as no surprise that it does cost less to live in Atlanta than it does New York. But let's really break that down and talk about some very specific areas that are less expensive. And maybe there are some areas that are more expensive. So first of all, the cost of living in New York is 54% higher than living in Atlanta. You would need a salary of over $150,000 a year to maintain the standard of living that you would have in Atlanta, Georgia. And the median home cost is one of the biggest differences between New York City and Atlanta. So the median home cost in New York is 86% higher than it is in Atlanta, which is really incredible to think about. Something else to think about is how high prices have gone up in both cities. So housing appreciation over the past 1, 5, and 10 years, Atlanta's winning in this area as well. In the past year, appreciation in Atlanta has gone up almost 10% as opposed to only 5.5% in New York City. In the last 5 years, Atlanta has gone up over half, so 53.5%. That's how much Atlanta home appreciation has risen in the last 5 years. And in New York, that's only 28%. So we're winning there as well. If we go back to 10 years of appreciation, a home in Atlanta has appreciated for 121% versus only 69.9% in New York. So not only do homes cost less in the Atlanta market, you can get more for your money, but you're actually going to build wealth faster. You are going to build equity faster, and your home is going to appreciate faster in the Atlanta market. Now, some other things. Food is about 18% higher in New York. Utilities are about 45% higher in New York. The cost to commute is about 47% higher as well. And health-related expenses are almost 30% higher in New York. So it is very safe to say and to assume that living in New York is going to cost you more than living in Atlanta. Another reason why people are leaving New York is because of the weather. If you have been through years and years and years of the brutal winters, the older you get, the more you might be leaning towards getting to a warmer climate. The more you might be leaning towards getting to a warmer climate. Enter Atlanta, or really any area in the Southeast region. We have lots and lots of people moving from the Midwest and from New England and the Northeast to the South to escape the winters. So in New York, if you're from New York, I know I don't have to tell you this, but you guys have really cold winters and you've got a lot of snow. In fact, in New York, in January, you've got about 8 inches. February, you've got about 9 inches. In March, you have about 4 inches, which I wish I could show you outside my window right now because it is a very sunny, warm day right now in Atlanta. There are, between the months of November and really even April, you guys are having between 1/2 inch to about 10 inches of snow. Now, let's flip over to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, our average annual snowfall doesn't even hit really 1 inch in most of the areas around Metro Atlanta. In fact, what you can really expect is every few years, maybe a dusting of snow. We might hit 1/2 inch every few years. You'll definitely get some frost on the ground, which our kids get very excited about frost because it kind of looks like snow. But what you will see is black ice. And so when the temperature dips and there has been any type of precipitation, that rainfall or that precipitation will turn to black ice. And black ice will usually melt on most of the roads except for the really shaded roads. Remember, Atlanta is the city in the forest, okay? And so we have a lot of shady areas, which we're very thankful for that when summertime comes around. But in the winter, it can make for some icy roads. So that's about the most extreme that you're gonna find. If you love snow, and you'd be so sad if you did not have snow in the winters, then Atlanta may not be the place for you. We actually love it when we get a little bit of snow because the public schools will shut down, the kids get a day home, the parents usually get a day home as well, and it's a big holiday, it's a big surprise day off. But let's also talk about the summers, okay? Because Atlanta weather can get really brutal. Just like anywhere in the Southeast, we're hot, we're humid, we've got mosquitoes. Thank God for air conditioning. So we're gonna be hot here. In fact, the hottest month is typically going to be July and maybe August, where temperatures are going to reach in the 90s, but sometimes with the heat index, they can feel like it's over 100, and it's a very humid heat as well. Obviously in New York, you're gonna have some cooler summers than we have, but Atlanta certainly wins for the winters. Okay, so let's get into a more serious topic than weather, and that is crime. So again, I told you, when I did my research, the research actually shows that crime in New York City has been going down, but from my conversations that I've had with people recently that have moved from New York down to Atlanta, it seems like crime is actually going up. Obviously, New York has a higher rate of violent crime than Atlanta, and certainly the US average. Again, although a January report from the New York Police Department did state that crime was down almost 3%. So your chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime in New York is 1 in 233 people, okay? In Atlanta, it's 1 in 272 people. So again, your chances of being involved in a violent crime are less in Atlanta than they are in New York. Now, there are some areas of Atlanta where they're going to be even less likely than that. For example, Milton and Johns Creek are two of the safest cities in the US. So when you're moving to areas like that, you're gonna see that number go even wider. Okay, another fact that I read was that Georgia violent crime rate is just below the national median, while New York is just above the national median. To summarize this, crime is higher than in New York than in Georgia. So if you are looking for a safer place to live, then certainly Atlanta should be making that list. Again, if you want warmer weather, and a lower cost of living. So finally, let's jump into the public schools. And the major question in New York, from what I understand, is will you get to go to the school where you live? I can imagine as a parent, because I have an 8th grader and a junior in high school, I can imagine the stress and anxiety that would come with not knowing if my kids are going to be able to go to the school system that we're zoned for. And if they don't, A, how will they get there and how long will their commute be each day? And then B, what does that school rank? And is that going to be a good fit for my kids? Now, I'm not saying it's like that everywhere in New York City, or actually everywhere in New York. I do believe that that's how it is in New York City, but I could be wrong. But in Metro Atlanta, that is not how it is. So if you go into city proper, city of Metro Atlanta, there are a couple of charter schools that if you live in the area, let's take Grant Park for example. So if you live in Grant Park, you are zoned for that charter school. And the people that live closest to the charter school are guaranteed a spot. That's kind of the zone 1 for that charter school. The further out you live, then you become zone 2, zone 3, and your chances of getting in go down. But the rest of Metro Atlanta is your kid goes to the school that your neighborhood is zoned for. And so that's why so many people move into the Metro Atlanta area when they're looking for great public schools, because you have complete control of the school that your kid goes to. If you want to be in a school that ranks 10 out of 10 on great schools, then you might be heading to Milton or to Marietta or Alpharetta or Johns Creek. And you're guaranteed that if you move to that area, your child will be going to that school that they are zoned for, because the zonings don't change. The only time the zonings would change is if a new school was built and then they redid the zoning lines at that time, but that just doesn't happen very often. So if you're in New York right now and you have children and you're concerned about the public schools option, this is a fantastic reason, and a reason why so many other New Yorkers have made the move to the Atlanta area, because you can pick where you want your child to go, and all you have to do is be able to afford a home in that school district, and your child is in for as long as they want to be there. So to summarize, if you're a New Yorker and you have been thinking, like so many other New Yorkers, is it time to leave the city? And where would I go if I did move? Coming to Atlanta certainly has its benefits. Again, to summarize, you're moving away from the cold and brutal winters. You're going to a place that's more affordable for you. You're also going to a safer area that has less crime, and your public school options are going to not only be great and plentiful, but they're going to be secured when you move into that area. Also, I don't have to mention Atlanta is a hub. We have Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the busiest airport in the world. So you can fly anywhere in the world you want to. So many places, a one-way stop, just like you can from JFK and LaGuardia. So you're not going to miss the convenience of the airports, because we have them here in Atlanta too. So I hope that this is helpful. Again, my name is Kelly Allen. I've been helping New Yorkers and people from all over the world move into the Atlanta area for more than 25 years. What did I miss? If you've moved from New York and you have a reason that did not make this list, please put it in the comments so other New Yorkers can learn from you. And if there's an area that you currently live in that's not New York and you'd like for me to compare it to Atlanta, I would love to do that for you. Just again, send me a comment or give me a call, send me an email, or just comment below and I read all of the comments. So good luck in your decision. I hope that this has given you some valuable information, and I'll see you in the next video.